Welcome back to AM Casa. We're here today at the IWC presentation of the novelties before Watches and Wonders, even though you're going to see it during Watches and Wonders in the end with Mr. Knoop.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Well, you presented some interesting pieces today, right?
Definitely. The Portugieser collection is an important part of IWC's product portfolio. It's one of our most iconic watch collections. And we dedicate this year actually to the relaunch of the Portugieser collection, bringing some interesting highlights to this collection,
both in
terms of design, but also in terms of watchmaking.
I was not expecting this. Why did you bring it back this year? Because, you know, after last year with a pretty successful piece such as the Engineer, how come you?
I mean, we are constantly evolving on all our collections, and even those we don't put in the focus, the design and development teams explore opportunities to develop them further in future. And now for Portugieser, we've said, okay, it's time to relaunch this collection, to give attention to this collection after so many years focusing on pilots, on Ingenieur last year, and Portugieser is one of our most relevant and most iconic collections.
Of course.
So this year we want to make a statement about the timelessness of the Portugieser design as such, but at the second time also introducing a couple of very exciting complications.
Yeah,
and
definitely
putting IWC really on the map of fine watchmaking, of complications, of high-end watchmaking, so to speak.
Super. Your role is definitely in this exact part of the. Well, your role is in the creation of the novel.
I'm in charge of the design at IWC.
So, exactly.
So most important point is looking after our collection, the watches, but we also look after everything else, like the corporate design, the
also the
aesthetics
spaces
and spatial design,
wow.
architecture, packaging. So there's many aspects really that form actually the 360-degree footprint of the brand, and we pretty much control this from Schaffhausen with internal creative people.
I guess it's pretty complicated to keep up with everything.
Definitely, yeah.
But it's nice and challenging, I would say. And how do you keep up with this, reinterpreting the brand DNA and bringing everything to life, balancing what is the history of the brand and the modernity of what you're doing now?
Especially working for a brand that is more than 150 years old. Every new collection, every new launch is walking a fine line between the past and the future. So we have to balance and respect what the brand DNA is about, what the character of the brand, what the history of a particular collection is. But we also have to infuse a couple of new ideas to surprise our
Such as the glass box.
Exactly. So, so every collection really has to cover this, the identity of the brand, the identity of a particular product, brand or collection, but still bringing that newness to it. And this is also the same what we do this year with the Portugieser, is carefully analyzing what the essence of Portugieser is about. It's a large wristwatch with an instrument DNA, perfect legibility, a very pure and timeless design. So what can we do to it to make it look new? And there's a couple of things we looked into is reworking the case construction to make it even lighter, to make it even more pure, to underpin actually the essence of that collection with this very open dial, with this slim case, making the case even slimmer, using double box glass to make the appearance of the product more airy and more light, also visually light. Sure. And plus looking into the dials and the execution of the dials, what can be done within the design codes of that collection to put forward even more of that DNA, of that instrument purity, that instrument crispness, but also to add a level of detail to it that would really underpin our competence as watchmakers and as craftsmen.
And we're also talking complications this year.
Yes, and there's two wonderful complications we bring to this collection. One is the Eternal Calendar from IWC,
Which is
taking
astonishing.
our calendar competence to a new level. And the second one is the hand-wound tourbillon day and night, a new take on our hand-wound tourbillon pieces with a new day and night 24 hours indication on the dial.
That is from a apprentice, you told us. That's pretty.
Yes, exactly.
pretty
This complication has been created by a former apprentice in IWC, and also making a statement how we believe that innovation is not something that lands on you, but it's something you have to cultivate as a company culture.
Of course.
This is what we do with our watchmakers from the very beginning, to challenge them, to involve them in innovation, and really make them really live and support a brand that is so much about design, innovation, and engineering like IWC.
And in cases like this one, is it like your team coming up? I mean, you see the apprentice doing something or proposing something. Who chooses this? Is it your team or is the whole company?
No, the apprentices sometimes work with designers, so they
Okay.
ask the help of designers, but in most cases they design this themselves. And then in the evaluation of this championship, of this innovation challenge, we as an exco involved, and I'm representing the design side as on this jury.
Okay.
Talking about this innovation, but there's also people representing operations or representing watchmaking,
Oh,
representing
interesting.
marketing. So it's a jury that has many facets of the brand, that looks after the proposals from young watchmakers and decides if they are price worthy or not.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. That's super interesting. And I mean, you redesigned Nikon last year, which was well perceived, I would say. But it was a thing, you know? You redesigned something that was super impactful and super awaited as well. What was more difficult? Giving a new life to the Portugieser or giving a new life to the engineer?
I mean, with the engineer, we were in a position that we haven't had a Genta-based design in the
Yeah.
collection for quite some years. So this gave the opportunity for a fresh start, but this was also clear that we would get a lot of attention.
Sure.
So it was also a challenge really to do a new interpretation on the engineer. The Portugieser is in a different situation, where we have a collection that is well established, that is very successful, that is out there at the point of sale, where we're changing a couple of references, the key references of the collection, but this will sit also together with all the rest at the point of sales. And so this also leads to the challenge that we want something that blends in naturally with the previous collection or the current collection, but still brings a certain novelty aspect. But this has to go together and in the commercial reality with a couple of products that remain out there in the collection, like the Portugieser chronograph, like the automatic 40 in steel. And these are pieces that are not touched and not reintroduced with the new 24 collection.
Okay, but can we expect them to be recharged in the future?
When time comes, yes. But this was also the clear intention, that we wanted to limit the number of novelties and not touch everything at the same time.
Okay, interesting. And so are we expecting like a revamp of also other lines that will come again?
It's pretty much like we did on pilots, where
Okay.
we introduced the ceramic pieces but left big parts of the collection untouched. It's
Okay.
like on the pilots when we introduced the big pilot 43 and the chrono 41, but we left the big pilot 46 or the chrono 43 untouched. So it's a process we have used in a couple of other collection launches of the previous years, not touching everything at the same time.
Okay, thank you. And talking about colors, because I mean, the whole booth, it's not really a booth, it's more like an exposition, but it's based on this concept of colors in general. How do you come up with that, and how does, I mean, you work with Pantone, you did a lot in colors and new materials, so How is it this process?
No, there is definitely a color competence in IWC, and we are very proud of our collaboration with Pantone. With the new Portugieser colors, we wanted to find a combination between that novelty aspect, getting the attention on the collection with a new color, but at the same time also to have a color set that would really go with the idea of a timeless and pure watch. We are not looking for the next fashion color, but for a very clean and timeless color set we could use on this collection. There we came up with 4 colors that define the collection, with the Silver Moon, Horizon Blue, Dune and Obsidian Black. Colors that resemble the idea of the cycle of day and night.
Sure.
And roll this out also on the full range of new products we are introducing.
Super. And talking about the new calendar, which is, I think, the talking piece of this launch, there's a lot of design in it. There's a lot of novelties in it.
Yeah, the new Eternal Calendar is an absolute milestone for our engineers and watchmakers. IWC is known for our competence in perpetual calendars. We have, since 1985, a calendar proposition which is unique in the market, which is very easy to use, fully operated via the crown, all calendar functions synchronized, and we improved on this over the last couple of decades. Taking this to the Portugieser collection in 2003, extending the accuracy of the moon phase display from 122 to 575, 77.5 days. And so the idea was really to further push on the technical capabilities of these perpetual calendars. So the current perpetual calendar has a weakness that it doesn't take into account the exceptions in the secular calendar in the year 2100, 2200, 2300, which are non-leap years. And the new secular calendar function corrects actually this problem and is programmed until the year 3999. So that's a big milestone in calendar competence. Next to that, we have a new developed moon phase display.
Which is
And this moon phase display on the current product had a 1-day deviation in 577.5 days. And now we have reached a deviation of 1 day mathematically in 45 million years.
Which is really impressive. But I mean, it's still a watch, so you still look at it.
Yes.
And on that aspect, I mean, using glass dial, that's super, super cool.
Yeah, we wanted to find an aesthetic expression for this absolute mind-blowing numbers in mechanical accuracy, for this absolute magic in calendar programming the movement is containing, and this we wanted to equal with an absolute stunning aesthetics on this product. Stunning aesthetic that would still build on the purity of Portugieser,
of course, because it's still Portuguese.
Bring a new level of refinement with the extremely domed glass, with a rail, with a full glass dial, creating an exceptional depth and richness, and putting full attention to the moon phase display with the special engravings on the disc, and also opening up the dial where actually the secular calendar mechanics sit to emphasize that this is not a normal perpetual calendar, but this is the new eternal calendar.
Sure. Now, tricky one. Is it more complicated to work design-wise on a complicated timepiece or on a time only and something that is?
The complicated situation with complicated watches is that it involves a lot of technical aspects, a lot of craftsmanship in the finishing of the parts and finishing of watchmaking components like gears, movements, tourbillons, displays and so on. And we also want to push the boundaries in what is possible in terms of craftsmanship and perfection. But at the same time, we want to achieve simplicity, and we want to have the purity of a Portugieser. And sometimes in life, simplicity is the hardest to achieve.
That's why I asked you. Yeah. We came in a very industrial area of Zurich, and it resembled a bit the booth of Watches and Wonders last year. So, what are we supposed to expect next? Because you're getting very much into this industrial design point of view, which resonates with the brands. Are we going to see this more often? Is it going to become a theme, or?
No, I think that what we want to do here is take you to this area, which is the area of creativity in Zurich. It has an industrial heritage, but it's actually the area where actually the creative life of Zurich happens. It's not happening at the lakeside, but it's really happening here. So here you have the creative restaurants, the fashion stores, the concept stores, the film production, the creative agencies, and so on. So to do this in this space is done on purpose. However, we wanted to use the opportunities of the technical projection room to immerse you into the different worlds of Portuguesa, into the different color worlds. What we will present at Watches and Wonders will also use the color worlds, but it will not be an industrial language or setting, because in the end also we see the Portuguesa as a very, very classic and a very elegant.
Indeed,
it's
it is.
Not like an ingénieur which naturally sits in a rough industrial environment.
Of course, even though, I mean, nowadays it's worn every day in the cities. Since there's a lot going on in IWC and there's like many design languages, where do you get inspiration?
Yeah, for me that's hard to say. That most designers will probably say that's art, that's design, that's fashion, that's music, where you draw the inspiration from. But in my case, I'm absolutely convinced that you look at the world around you with different eyes as a designer. Like a chef would probably taste different flavors when he tastes food around the world or when he's traveling, or a musician will listen to different things or hear different things. As a designer, you have a very intense perception of shape, of color. In all kinds of situations, and this can be an art exhibition, this can be a flea market, this can be a fashion
Can this
show.
be watches?
This can be
as well?
Watches. So you just look at the world around you with a different sensitivity that automatically finds its way into the work.
Okay, if you have to give us 3 points about the new novelties, what would you say? Like 3 key points to know, to understand them.
For me, it's important to see the Portuguesa not as a classic watch, but as a kind of modern classic, as a kind of timelessly contemporary product. The second thing is IWC has its place in the world of fine watchmaking. It's a brand that has a rich history in high complications, and we are again underpinning our competence in fine watchmaking with Portuguesa. And last but not least, I think the way we combine the both, the purity and the fine watchmaking, is a unique formula of IWC and the Portuguesa as such.
True. And complete last one, what should we expect from the future? I know it's the trickiest thing because you know more than we do, but you cannot say this.
No, you can definitely expect that we keep pushing and we keep evolving. We won't be satisfied with the status quo as IWC, and we, even with the most renowned and iconic watches, we will find ways to improve and to take them to another level.
Will we see them smaller?
That's including also sizes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It was a pleasure, and thanks to you guys. Let us know what you think, and let us know what you think about the novelties, and see you next video.